Good morning and welcome to PainChek's investor webinar and Q&A, following the company's quarterly update announced this morning. Presenting today will be CEO and Managing Director, Philip Daffis. To ask a question, please submit them via the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen. We'll do our best to get through as many of them as possible. I'll now hand it over to Philip.
Thank you, Ben, and good morning, everyone. Appreciate your time to join the call this morning. I'm going to cover the presentation or the update that was posted on the ASX this morning. The update was a lengthy Word document, which I encourage everyone to read. This presentation is really the highlights and the summary of what's in that document as well. I think as we go through this morning, you'll see that PainChek is very much on its way to being a global business, a global successful business, and the world's first pain assessment tool for people with communication difficulties. Let's go back to our vision first, and our vision first is to give a voice to those people who can't reliably verbalise their pain. This has been our goal since day one, and there are two extremes of people that we've built technologies for, medical apps that are used for, on one extreme, elderly people with dementia or cognitive impairments who have lost their ability to actually reliably verbalise their pain. On the other hand, we've also built and just released recently an infant version of the technology, and this is for pre-verbal children who have not got the ability to obviously communicate yet and are pre-verbal in communication. In both instances, the technologies are medical apps. They use AI intelligence to actually assess the pain, and they document scores in real time. The talk today, really, I'll cover these core areas. Just to reiterate, we are a first mover advantage. We've got the first product and only regulated technology to assess pain for these populations. It's AI enabled and it's a SaaS platform for both the adult and the infant technology, and they work through smartphone devices. We've established the business significantly in our existing markets, Australia, New Zealand, UK and Canada, with more than 110,000 beds, over 1,900 care facilities, 5.4 million contracted ARR, and very strong margins. The other thing we're very proud of is that we've done more than 12 million, or actually our clients have conducted more than 12 million assessments since we started in 2018, making it a truly global technology. We are now really looking to grow significantly. We're looking to get into the US market, which is a significantly large market, and we are at the final stages of getting ready for FDA de novo clearance. It's been a long journey, but a very positive journey recently, and that's going to open up a significant market, the largest market in the world for our adult technology. In addition to that, I'll talk through where we are with PainChek Infant, which has got an even larger market opportunity than the adult product. So let's talk about the problem we're addressing, and the problem we're addressing is about people who are non-verbal or unable to reliably communicate their pain levels. Millions suffer from the condition. The pain tools that are typically used, especially for the adults, are very subjective, very observational, which leads to inconsistent results. The results of that means that pain is often undertreated, impacting quality of life and higher utilisation of healthcare, and it drives a lack of standardisation in those areas. The final impact of that is that the care provision environments change, they're variable in different scenarios, and they reduce the reliability of the result. So what PainChek does, it actually addresses the issue, it addresses the fact there's a lack of care staff or lack of qualified care staff in some of these areas. We do a reliable pain assessment, helping aged care facilities stay compliant and also saving time and money. So let's look at the size of the market now. Obviously, we start with the dementia group. We know there's 57 million people with dementia today. That's tended to grow to 150 million globally by 2050, and that's actually the size of the diabetes market, which is really significant. People with dementia triangulate their care between an aged care facility, between home care, and between hospital beds. And we know today that about more than 30% of hospital beds are typically occupied by people living with dementia. So our product, our adult app, fits in with hospitals, fits in with home care, fits in with aged care. So 3 large market sectors. On the other hand, the infant product, there are 4 million pre-verbal children in the world at any one time, and around 150 million are born to first-time parents every year. So again, large market. So we've developed our products for 2 different types of market segments. We have both a B2B opportunity, which is mostly through the adult product in hospitals, care homes, and home care, as just discussed. But also we've got a B2C opportunity with both products, and especially so for the infant products. And right now, the last 6 months, 12 months, we've really built B2C capability both within the company and with partners, as you'll see on the product in the presentation today. And we're actively looking to recruit a head of business development for the infant technology to drive that program even faster. If we first look at the adult app, this is a multi-dimensional pain assessment tool. It takes 6 steps to do a pain assessment. And what we do that's really totally unique is we take the most difficult part of the pain assessment, which is capturing the facial expressions that indicate pain. And we do that through the use of the camera in a smart device and the use of AI. And we do in 3-second snapshots. We assess the facial indicators and document the facial indicators of pain. It's very simple. It's a bit like going through a passport control or when you go into your bank these days and your camera identifies your face, except we're not identifying a face. What we're identifying is the facial expressions that indicate pain. We document them in real time, and then the carer proceeds through the rest of the pain assessment process. They assess voice, movement, behavior, activity, and body. It's guided through the program, and they come up with a pain score and a pain severity score. From that, they can treat and manage pain effectively. The other thing we do for our customers is we provide them with analytics. And most recently, we've just launched the Health Check system, which is a system where we provide automated monthly reports for our aged care facilities, which reduces clinical risk. It meets their accreditation standards and helps them show that they're managing pain for their clients very significantly. Remember, in aged care, 80% of people in aged care have severe pain, and 60% plus cannot reliably verbalize their pain. This is the method to show pain is being managed. We talk about the size of the markets. Well, the long-term care or the aged care market is a close to a $500 million market globally, with the US obviously being the largest, which is where we're focusing on next. And we also see the home care market being significantly larger. This is as more and more governments fund home care and more people want to stay at home through the rest of their life. And the technology and the funding and the care is moving into that environment, and our product is an absolute perfect fit for that sector. So let's quickly have a look and see how we've done so far in terms of the business. We started in Australia because that's our domestic market. We wanted to show we can build a business locally before taking it overseas. And we've done that. We've now got 68,000 of the 200,000 beds in Australia under contract. That's more than 850 aged care facilities and 33% now of the Australian market now using PainChek. You can see some of our clients on the right-hand side, top right. Those top 10 clients cover 25,000 of those 68,000 beds. The market is consolidating, and we are consolidating with those larger players. And 50% of our clients have been with us for more than 3 years. I will say one thing, in our last quarter, we've added a new large client. I can't name them yet because we're finalizing the release of the agreement. But we've just signed up a 5,000 bed client over a 3-year agreement, which has helped us move towards that 68,000 beds in total. The other thing we're very proud of is we've integrated with every single care management system provider, and these groups provide care, document the care, not just for aged care systems or facilities, but also for the home care sector. So 200,000 beds in aged care, 200,000 beds in home care. So these partners take us into both of those markets. If you look at the UK, very similar picture. UK, the aged care market, or the aged care market is larger, it's 500,000 beds, but the average size of an aged care facility is much smaller. It's about 35 to 40 beds per facility. We've now got 42,000 beds under license across more than 1,000 care homes, and we've got, in terms of implemented licenses, we've had 80% growth year on year, reaching 26,000. One of the trials we did recently, as you've probably read about, is the Scottish Care Inspectorate. There's been a big trial going on there for about a year and a half now, and that's just finished and got some very, very positive outcomes. Then we look at them, go to the outcomes. So what they found, this is a pilot study to help identify the opportunity for PainChek to be used across all of Scotland, which is a 38,000 bed new opportunity. The results look really good. We've had 40% reduction in falls, improvements in weights and reduction in dependency scores. But more important, on the right-hand side, or as importantly, should I say, we've seen significant reductions in analgesics, antipsychotics, and antidepressants, because if you manage pain, you have a better, happier resident living in the aged care environment. I've got a short video here from one of those centres in Scotland. This was Renaissance Care. They started as part of the trial with the Scottish Care. They've actually gone ahead and actually taken on PainChek and acquired a license full-time anyway, and they've seen some significant improvements. Let's listen to
We have had some fantastic outcomes for our residents with the use of PainChek. We have seen a number of residents' medications being reviewed by professionals, reducing the number of analgesia or the amount of analgesia that they're prescribed. We have seen a reduction in some falls, and we're currently looking at that further in depth. But we are seeing residents participating in activities more. We're seeing residents mobilising better because we are effectively managing their pain now.
So that's just a comment from the team in Renaissance Care. We've got similar ones from Dovehaven, which I've reported in the past. So we move on to Canada. Canada's our next big market we've entered. We've got regulatory clearance there. We started sales early this year. We've now got around 1,000 beds under license, and all of them are actually 2-year contracts. One thing I would say is my colleague David Alsop, who's been my business development manager for the past 8 years in Australia, he's actually moving out with his family to Canada early, in fact, next weekend, to head up our business there in Canada and to work closely with head of business development in the US, who we've also recently appointed. So we're taking our best teams into the North American market to really penetrate that marketplace. In terms of our total business, as I said before, we've got 110,000 contracted beds. That's worth 5.4 million. Margins are very steady at 75% gross margins. Net retention rate is strong, 106%. This talks about the fact that the clients we have continue to grow by either acquiring companies or building more aged care facilities, and in doing so, expanding the PainChek contracts. And we've recently brought in some new tiered activation agreements, which means that we define the implementation dates and the actual billing dates. And I'll come on to that in a second, because I'll give you the example of how that actually works. So very positive progress in terms of growth. And in terms of pipeline, we always look for a 30 to 40,000 bed pipeline. You can see here on the left-hand side the implemented contracted beds, which are in place now. We've got qualified pipeline of 40,000 new beds, which will take us to 7.2 million projected ARR just in ANZ, UK, and Canada over the next period. Every quarter, every month, we try to expand and increase our pipeline to continue to grow the business. In terms of those contracts just mentioned a few years ago, this is a summary of the activation contracts that are now in place. We basically fix subscription start dates based upon the size of the contract. Those contracted beds, we call them leading indicators of revenue, while the implemented beds are lagging indicators. Now, there'll always be a gap between when we contract, when we implement, but the goal is to minimize that gap, especially for the larger clients, which is our sweet spot. So these new contracts fix the billing dates regardless of implementation. They fix the timing of when we receive the revenue and the cash, and so fast to implement with the client. We also collect an upfront fee, which is an addition to the actual license for the upfront work we need to do before the license are active. So these new contracts being well accepted by the clients, it gives them a motivation to implement faster, and a real win-win for both parties. So this is really impacting strongly our ability to collect fees faster. Finally, on this sector, I just want to talk about, we're very proud of the fact that we document every single pain assessment. And as you can see here, we continue to double pain assessments conducted every 12 months, shows strong growth on utility, and we've got more than 16,000 carers now trained using our product. We're becoming the Hoover of pain assessments. People just talk about doing a PainChek now. And that's the sort of that's the verbiage expressed in aged care facilities, not just here, but also in the UK and now in Canada. I'm going to shift gears now to go to the US. Just want to give you an update. Obviously, you're aware we submitted our de novo clearance, our de novo application last October. We had meetings with the FDA in April and June this year. These were review meetings to review our clinical study and also get feedback from them on what they want to see from us. And we've now submitted our final review document, which happened in just a couple of weeks ago. We believe we're on track to be the first and only regulatory cleared product in the US through this de novo process. And once we get it, the de novo process gives us a predicate for expanding indications into home care, infants, and other market sectors. So a very, very important part of our process. Why are we going to be successful in the US when some companies go to the US from Australia and never do well? Because look, we're applying a lot of my learnings, having worked for Roche and worked for Cochlear, into this process. So what have we done that's going to make us successful? First, if you look at this slide, top left, we've proven our product to market fit. Yep, we've proven it through our work in Australia, our work in the UK, and our work in Canada, and our total pain assessments managed there. So we've validated the product before going to the US. You go to top right, the US de novo clearance basically means the product's novel. There's no competition. And the clinical study we did in the US confirms it's a product fitting in with the US markets. We don't have to do additional clinical trials. Finally, obviously, as I said before, it would also become a predicate for us for other market sectors. So this really puts us in a novel position. If you look at bottom right, we've already appointed a head of business development based in New York. We've got integration partnerships, as we've done in Australia and the UK, but with the biggest player in the US, Point Click Care, and now with Eldermark. And we've already got client demand before we've even started selling in the US. And finally, bottom left, what's driving the use of PainChek, or the need for PainChek, is federal and local requirements for better pain management in aged care, especially after all the opioid disasters that happened in the United States. It's a key part of what they call the minimum data set, which we will fit into very nicely. And although we will initially sell directly and we'll sell as a value-added product, as we do in Australia and the UK, into those sectors, we've also identified a potential reimbursement pathway, which would be gold dust, because once you get reimbursed from something like this, then the whole market opens up very, very rapidly. So in summarize, on the adult product, you can see here, it's a very good, classic global strategy. We've validated the product in Australia and New Zealand. We've validated it in the UK. We're entering the US market, the largest market in the world, with good partnerships and with people in place. We're in Canada already, and next stage for us will be to go to Germany, where we're doing a study right now, and enter the large German market. And finally, once we've got US FDA clearance, we'll be going across for clearance for Japan, and that process is already in place. So I'll hold it there for the adult products and now refer to the infants. So infants, really exciting. As I said before, we've got a potential market of 400 million people, 150 million kids born to first-time parents, or babies born to first-time parents each year. Me personally, I became a grandfather 6 months ago, so my daughter's using this product already, and I'm seeing how well it works and how it impacts care for her and my grandson. But if you look at the value of the product, if we just got 1% global penetration, just 1% penetration, that's worth over $300 million per annum. So we're approaching this strategically, and I think we're doing a really perfect job to make this work. So I'll hold it there for the adult products and now refer to the infants. So infants, really exciting. As I said before, we've got a potential market of 400 million people, 150 million kids born to first-time parents, or babies born to first-time parents each year. Me personally, I became a grandfather 6 months ago, so I'm seeing how well it works and how it impacts care for her and my grandson. But if you look at the value of the product, if we just got 1% So PainChek Infant, you can see the branding slightly different. It's more consumer friendly. It's a large market opportunity. And the first product is just for infants for the 1 to 12 months. The toddlers would follow, but the first product is for infants aged between 1 month and 12 months. How do we see the market opportunity? Well, we see 3 big segments. The biggest on the left will be the consumer product, which is more about mums and dads and family members and daycare. The HCP market, there's a market there to sell into those sectors, but the healthcare professional also, the work we do with them will positively influence the consumer and also our partners. And finally, on the right-hand side, the partnership market, which ranges from work with pharmaceutical companies and integrating with things like baby monitors and other medtech devices. So range of opportunities for this product is unlimited. This is a look of the product. It's just a 3-step facial analysis. So it's not a 6-step domain product. It's actually just a 3-second scan of the face. It documents the pain assessment. It monitors the events. It documents all treatments automatically, also through drop-down menus. And it's all the training, and it's a true plug and play, all the trainings built into the app. So you just download and use. What have we done recently? Well, we've expanded the use of the product. We've now got a free trial model available on the App Store, offering 30 days or 3 pain assessments at no cost to trial the product. We've got 3 pricing tiers, 1 month, 3 month, and lifetime. We've updated the website to do better new onboarding and clear instructions, and also gifting option. You know, a bit like me, I gifted the product to my daughter. I see that as being a big opportunity for grandparents and other family members to gift it to other family members. And we're now doing paid media campaigns with partners, and I'll come on to that in a second. So 3 big partners we're working with now. We've built our capability internally. We're working now with Butter, Appmedia, and Linkbee to actually drive awareness and drive demand to the App Store. How does that work? Well, it's a collaborative program. We're now working with Butter to build awareness. That's through media and TikTok, and they're doing the creation and execution and the social media content. From that, Butter and the group called Linkbee are a performance-based PR group. Rather than paying for PR and wondering if it actually works, we only pay when users click on our link, set up by Linkbee, and therefore that drives also the social media content. And finally, we've got a group called Appmedia working with us for app conversion optimization and Apple App Store optimization. It's a true digital consumer marketing strategy, and it's very cost effective this way. Finally, the PainChek team, our digital team, so right now looks at the results, the behaviors, insights, the engagement, and provides feedback to continually improve this process. Let's take a quick look at some social media posts. These are the posts that are going up in social media. You may see them if you Google infant pain, you'll start to see these adverts coming up to influence people to go and have a look at the product and go to the App Store to actually download. And if you go to the App Store today, you'll see this imaging for PainChek. This is brand new. I think it went up in the last 24 hours. So this process increases traffic, increases visibility, and boosts conversion rates from views to downloads. So we're looking at more and more downloads. In fact, we just received our first check from the App Store. That was actually last month. There's only a couple of $1,000, but it shows we're already selling onto the App Store. That's US dollars after their commission. So we now see this will really increase traffic and increase downloads and uptake. I think I've shared this with you before, but I just want to show you. We're also working with a company called Kindred, who are doing consumer marketing, and they've generated some family or mother content to actually talk about how they use PainChek. Let me do 2 quick ones of these.
We found a new app that does so many things. It's called PainChek Infant. So this app specifically does an assessment on your infants, going by what the facial expressions are and letting you know what their pain scale is from 1 to 10. How amazing is that? As you can see, I've just done this on my son and he's scoring nothing because he's got absolutely no facial expressions going on. He is one happy little boy. Thank you, PainChek.
And here's the second one.
Are you always second guessing yourself when it comes to your baby and their needs? It's heartbreaking when your baby's unsettled and you're not quite sure how to help them. Babies can't tell us what's wrong, so most of the time we're left wondering, are they hungry, are they in pain, or are they just tired? PainChek Infant uses OWL to scan your baby's face and assess their pain, all from your phone. It helps take the guesswork out of those tough moments. It gives you a pain score between 1 and 6 and helps you know if your baby needs comfort, help, or maybe even a trip to the doctors. PainChek Infant has given me so much more confidence in responding to my baby's needs, especially when nothing else seems to settle her. It's so reassuring to have something else to back you up in those moments of doubt. Download the PainChek Infant app today on iOS, and you can learn more about it at painchekinfant.com.
Found a new app that
Are you
does.
all
So you can see some of the highlights, benefits, and that is social media content that's going out to other families and other mums and dads. They can see how other people are using it. To sort of finish up on the infant product right now, so you can see we've got the facial analysis working well, and that's being driven through our marketing. But we've also developed a vocalization technology. This is a technology that's used to something like a Shazam, where we can actually differentiate between a cry of pain and a cry of no pain. This is actually developed, it's still being validated, but it can be an additional tool to the facial analysis. And putting these two together really links us to what we're talking about, our infant pain care strategy and potential partner engagement. So what we have, if you think about sort of a care management program, whether it's diabetes care or cardiovascular care, this is pain care. So we can screen for pain using the vocalization AI and assess a cry of pain or no pain. We can assess the presence of pain using the facial assessments. We can then there's intervention, pharmaceutical or non-pharmaceutical intervention. And then there's finally the ability to monitor how the intervention works, again, using our facial assessment. We can see the speed of action, the symptom reduction, the improved competence for family members and quality of life. So this is where we're driving partnerships, because on the treatment side, there's a number of pharma and non-pharma companies who we're talking to who see this as a great tool to work with. I'll finish off now really on just a quick summary on the corporate side. You know, the company's generating good cash, great cash. We've had, I think we hit $1 million in cash this quarter, which was first time we've hit $1 million since we listed in a quarter. Strong market capitalization, and thank you to all our shareholders, current and new, who participated in the recent 7.5 million capital raise. And that gives us full funding now to continue to execute on all our goals. I just want to say thank you to our team as well. Sorry, one second. So thank you to our team. This is our team who work with me, both on the, as you can see now, we've got Head of Business Development in Canada, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and also US. So we're a global commercial team. And of course, we've got the operations, the science, and the finance and technology and regulatory support. Thank you also to the board for all their great work and support over the past period. And my last slide is this one, which is the inflection points for the future. Number one for us is US market entry, establishing the company and getting initial sales and expanding partnerships. Secondly, continued growth in our core businesses in Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. And then thirdly, continued direct to market entry of the infant app, not just direct to parent, but also into the partnerships with healthcare professionals and pharmaceutical companies, which leads us to white labeling and many, many other opportunities. So I'll hold it there and pass back to Ben.
All right, thank you, Philip. We're going to run through the Q&A in a second. Philip might want to stop sharing your screen while we do the Q&A. We've got a fair few questions that come through, but a reminder that if you'd like to ask a question, please do so by the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen. So I'll start running through them now. The first question, can you clarify what commercial traction or revenue PainChek expects to generate within the first 3 to 6 months of FDA approval?
Well, thank you. Look, while we don't typically give forecasts, we do have a sales budget which is being finalised right now with our head of the US organisation. We will be We do have an initial client on the East Coast with whom we're finalising an agreement. It's small. This will be our first sale. As soon as we get FDA clearance, it's small, but this aged care facility has a large influence and reach across the US. Just to give you clarity, we had actually a strategy session meeting yesterday with our US team. We are targeting for commercial traction, both for profit and non-profit long-term care and nursing homes in the US. We understand the fees they charge for beds and how we best fit into their pricing strategy. And from a strategic standpoint, I can say that we are focusing on the eastern coast of the US. It's 60 to 70% of all aged care facilities and beds are in the east coast of the US, which reflects the older demographic and aging population in that sector. So we've picked for our person the right location. He's got great access to these groups, and we expect to rapidly drive sales in the United States.
Thank you. How many clients or facilities have been pre-qualified or lined up by PainChek and Eldermark ahead of FDA clearance?
Oh, good question. So look, we are targeting directly those initial clients. That's the work we're doing directly. However, PainChek, they do have the lion's share of the marketplace, especially in the eastern coast where they're located, and so they will help us open doors to those clients, and also build relationships with those groups. So we're lining up the clients through our team, but our guy Nick Garofoli has known PainChek and Eldermark for years, so he'd be working with them in terms of lining up the best clients, and knowing that because we're integrated with PainChek already, then the reason to buy or purchase from us increases rapidly because integration's all done.
Thank you. Have any US long-term care providers committed to trials or pilots contingent on FDA clearance?
Look, in terms of that question, in terms of trials, we think that because we've done the clinical study in the US, we won't need to do many trials because the data is there and it's all US-based data, and you can't get better than a peer-reviewed clinical study. But pilots will be a key part of our entry strategy, and we will be doing pilots as part of that process. But again, we've already got 5 facilities that participate in the trial that are also asking about sales, and we don't need to do pilots with them because they've already used it.
Thank you, Philip. Of the $7.5 million raised, what exact percentage will be spent on US hiring and B2B sales execution?
Right, in terms of US hiring and B2B sales execution, well, we've already got 2 people in place. Nick's out there already. David's going out there next weekend, so that's in place. We are looking to build a team, probably around 5 people or so across sales and marketing, customer servicing to start. And these are people who will build the local relationships and the early activities with those clients. However, we're also, because we're a digital technology, part of the meeting we had yesterday is to look to how to leverage a global capability. We've got people in the UK, people in Australia, New Zealand, because we're a digital tool. All the training can be done digitally. All the support can be done digitally from anywhere in the world. And our goal is to really make PainChek a cost-effective and very efficient service delivery that can operate from anywhere in the world, being a digital technology. Yes, we do need the people face-to-face in the local markets for the relationship, but in terms of supply and delivery, that can come from anywhere, and we've been very successful already doing that, and we'll expand it in the US and North America.
All right, sorry about that. The next question, just a more general question about the capital position of the business. How do you see it today, and how's the business position going forward?
Well, look, again, I want to thank everyone that came into the most recent capital raise this week. The current funding is expected to support the US business, through to next year. We've also got we've got 408 million 5-cent options, which don't expire till the end of this year and early next year. And we believe we'll be re-rated. The company will be re-rated once we get into the United States. And if those options are taken up, that could be another $20 million of funding that comes into the company. And we believe with that will take us through to a break-even and a profit position. So we may not need to raise capital again based on the situation we currently have, which is significantly good.
Okay. What does PainChek look like by the end of FY26? Can you paint the picture in terms of ARR, market reach, and product footprint?
Well, again, I'm not very good at giving. I don't want to give forecasts, but the position we're at now, looking at the US, looking at UK, looking at the German approach, by the end of financial year 2026, I think we'll be a global business. The center of gravity will move from Australia to Europe, or should I say the Northern Hemisphere. Our largest markets, if not by then, but certainly on the way by then, and largest markets in our ARR will be North America and UK, with Germany hopefully going rapidly behind it, and the company will be heading towards profitability. My goal was always to make this a global business, a little like we did at Cochlear, with different regions, but the biggest regions will always be Europe and North America, and we're well on our way to being that. And that's how I see the picture going forwards.
Thank you. Is PainChek actively pursuing partnerships with pharmaceutical companies or paediatric healthcare networks to integrate the infant app into broader infant care or medication protocols?
Great question. And look, I think I touched on that a little bit in the presentation with that pain care slide. Absolutely. If you think about it, there is no objective pain assessment tool for pediatrics. We're the first one. We already have a number of contacts in the pharmaceutical sector who are engaged with us as looking to see how we can actually work together to show how well their drugs actually work. Another thing for everyone to realize is that, the FDA will not approve new pain relief drugs unless they show effectiveness with objective measures. We know that because Duke University contacted us a while ago, and they were commissioned by the FDA to go out and find objective tools, because up till recently, the only way pharmaceutical companies validated their drug or their pain relief drug worked on an infant was by asking the parents. That was the only way. And the FDA said it's not good enough. So once we get clearance in the US and once we get the infant product really up and running, we believe there will be, a lot of take up, not just to collaborate with pharmaceutical companies, but also to go into things like baby monitors and other technologies that are providing care to people, and also integrate with other apps, other technologies that for mums and dads to use. We see a global app coming together for managing a full profile of their baby's situation. And having a daughter with a 6-month-old son, I can see that, and she's giving me feedback all the time as to how we should incorporate PainChek into all the other stuff she uses. So really exciting future there.
All right, thank you. When could PainChek Infant be bundled or white labelled with over-the-counter pain relief brands, or integrated into digital health tools used by maternal and child health nurses?
I think I sort of broadly covered that in the last one, but certainly what I would say is that all options exist. I do see white labeling options happening for the product, especially the vocalization technology. I see that as being something that can go into various sectors and can be white labeled, especially into things like baby monitors. So yeah, absolutely, we're very open for that. We see the product having lots of applicability.
Thank you. Is a Res App style buyout in the next 12 months possible?
Well, look, I mean, obviously there's a difference between us, and Res App. I mean, most corporates, from my experience, acquire proven businesses, which we are. And look, the fact is for us is that when we get into the US, I think we'll have significant interest from multiple sources, and I think we'll have lots of options to us we can remain a standalone business, a bit like Cochlear's done. I mean, they never were acquired or never integrated with anybody else, partially because of the uniqueness of their product, and they became a very successful business. We can go down that route. We could also partner with a company with true global synergies and distribution to speed up the process of getting PainChek around the world. Now, I've seen done and both done, and I can see that we have the options to go both ways, especially now with the capital in place and also with those options in place. We've got the option to do both. I would say those two are the routes forward for us as a business.
All right, thank you. Still going, got several more to go. Licenses implemented in ANZ have gone backwards from March to June 25, and year on year haven't seen a lot of growth. Any concern here on the growth in ANZ, and how would we think about the growth moving forward?
Yeah, look, there was a slight decline this quarter, but the way I'd look upon it is that we've got is it 60-odd thousand beds licensed and only I think 45,000 implemented. Our goal is to keep closing that gap. You know, we've got the new contracts in place that provide faster implementation, and we're also continuing to. We've got I think 4,000 or 5,000 beds being implemented in the next quarter in Australia, and that will revert it backwards. Yeah, that was just a short-term blip, I would say, but we are actually addressing those both by the large products or the large licenses that we've got to implement, and secondly by the new contracts which drive faster implementation. So you will see a significant increase in Australia and New Zealand in the next quarter. You already saw that happen in the UK in the last quarter, and both markets you'll see faster implementation, growth of implementation over the next 2 quarters.
Right, thank you. Are there any US grants initiatives PainChek can apply to help with the US rollout? That could be federal or state.
We're exploring those. I think the biggest one is that reimbursement path, which I mentioned. There is a innovation path for medical devices that have been regulatory cleared. And that's something we're looking at right now. We've already written to them. They've come back to us and said, yeah, they've registered us as part of interest. So that I would say would be the biggest opportunity for us. But of course, we will look at any sort of grants that come up. But reimbursement would be the long-term goal, and I think that's something that we've clearly got an opportunity with.
Okay. Can you please expand on when PainChek Infant will be released on Android?
Oh, good question. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. Yes, that's going to happen this quarter. I did have it in the I did mention it in those inflection points, and that's in progress. So we just wanted to complete those different pricing methods and the free of charge option for people on iOS, and we always do it first on iOS. Everything. Once you've got iOS done, we then flip over to Android. But yes, in this quarter, you'll see the Android version come out.
All right, thank you, Philip. The next one is you're currently burning around $9 million annualized. How much additional spend do you anticipate will be required to scale and support the US launch?
I think I covered that earlier. I said about the fact we've got a core team in place. We're building a core team there. It's similar in size right now this year to what we have. In fact, slightly smaller than the UK. But we're looking to globalize those support services, globalize the training, globalize the onboarding to make that more and more cost effective. Yeah. In the early days, we had to do it in Australia only. Then we leverage the UK and we do some globalization between us, or the localization between us and the UK, and we'll do the same thing in North America. In fact, we will approach North America as one area. Canada and the US. And service both markets, but as one region. So we're looking to always optimize our costs and reduce our costs going forwards.
All right, thank you. Next question. How many licenses do you require to break even?
Oh, that's always a good question. It always depends on how you look at it. And I always say this, I could break even today if I just focused on Australia New Zealand, and the UK. I could just stop everything, stop infant, stop US, stop everything else. I could break even today. Okay, the goal is to be a global, successful, profitable business, and that's what we're working on. And therefore, the number depends on how far we expand. But we believe the capital we've raised and the capital we can potentially get through the options would take us to that break-even point.
Okay, thank you. How long will the direct reimbursement eligibility with the Centre for Medicare and Medical Services approval process take?
You repeat the question. Sorry, I didn't quite get it.
Yeah, sorry. How long will the direct reimbursement eligibility with the Centre for Medicare and Medical Services approval process take?
We don't know. We can only apply once we've got clearance. So once we've got clearance, it's for medical devices, innovative with regulatory clearance. That's when we can start to apply and to go down that route. But in the meantime, I reiterate, there is a very, very good cost benefit and value added argument we have just to sell in the US through aged care facilities using their current budgets, as we've done in the UK and Australia. And in fact, we do believe we can get $50 US dollars per bed, not 50 Australian dollars per bed equivalent, but 50 US dollars per bed in that market, which makes it a much more valuable market just on its own right. 3 million beds times $50 per bed, it's a significantly large market opportunity.
Thank you, Philip. Couple of parts of this question. When you reference another $20 million coming from the US, what's driving that number, and how confident are you in the current cash position post-raise? The second part, what are the key execution risks that keep you up at night as you go after the US, given it's the biggest and most critical market?
Look, the US market is so our initial approach is worth $100 million US dollars. So that's our initial approach, and our goal is to we want to grab as much as we can as quickly as we can, and that will depend on various things. So that's good. What keeps me up at night, to be frank, I've got a great team. We've been together a long time. I've got people queuing up to join this company. People want to be in this. It's an innovative company. It's a great technology. It's filling a market there's a great need. It's really about making sure we've always got the right people in the right place and investing at the right time. And that's the one thing that we focus on, and making sure we do it right. And I just look at the infant app. We want to get this right because it's such a magnificent market opportunity. We're spending the time to get it right. I'm looking to hire someone who's going to be unique in this area to add to the team that we have today. But it's really about the people. We've got a great team, and that's what really that's what's going to drive our success.
Nice spot to end. So that actually concludes the Q&A segment. I'll now hand it back to Philip for closing remarks.
Look, I just want to close off by reiterating that we are at a pivotal point of the business. Getting to the United States has been one of our big goals for the future. We are very close to achieving that. I want to say to people, I'm very, very confident that we're going to get FDA clearance. They've actually been supportive of us as to help us through this process. De novo is complex, it's very complex, but they've been very supportive. We're working with the same people we met back in 2019, and we've been very, very, as I said, we've listened to them carefully, and we've addressed any of the questions they've had, I think, in the appropriate manner. My goal and our goals team is to continue the growth and to thank our shareholders again for supporting this. I think we're going to be strongly re-rated once we get into the United States. And I think all current shareholders and future ones will be delighted at our progress for the next 6 months. So thank you for your support.